A key element of Israelite worship was the bread of the presence. It was considered one of the 3 holiest regular actions in Israelite worship. These 3 holy actions all took place in the sanctuary of the tabernacle and temple, the area closest to the Holy of Holies, and were carried out by the high priest exclusively. These were the lighting of the golden lampstand, the burning of incense on the golden altar, and the replacement of the bread of the presence on the golden table. All these actions represented parts of the covenant that God had with Israel. The bread of the presence symbolized God's provision toward Israel. It was also connected with the Sabbath as a perpetual ordinance. On the Sabbath, the priest switched out the bread of the presence. The week-old bread was then consumed by the priests in the sanctuary, as it had been made holy by being in the presence of God. It's also connected to the manna, or bread from heaven, that God provided for Israel during their time in the wilderness after the Exodus. In Leviticus chapter 24, we learn that each loaf of bread was to be made with 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. This is the same amount of manna that the Israelites were to collect per person in preparation for their Sabbath in the wilderness. The measurement works out to be around 7 pounds or 3.2 kilograms per loaf. The bread of the presence consisted of 12 loaves arranged in 2 piles of 6 on top of the golden table. The loaves are also called the bread of the piles, the continual or regular bread, and holy bread. Their number seems to represent the 12 tribes of Israel, whose provision is always before the face of God. So entrenched was the symbolism of the bread with the provision of God, that it later became a saying in Jewish tradition that if one wanted material blessing, they should point their feet north when they prayed. The table of bread was oriented on the north side of the sanctuary. In 1 Chronicles, we learn that the Kohathite family of Levitical priests were tasked with the special service of baking the bread of the presence. Its shape, recipe, and arrangement became quite the center of later tradition. While most modern representations of the Table of Showbread are rather straightforward, a table with a golden rim around its top, modern Judaism has kept the tradition that the loaves were separated by golden reeds or rods, adding support to the unleavened bread. These are envisioned and depicted as movable shelves. To the table built during Moses' lifetime, the Bible tells that King Solomon added 10 more to his Jerusalem temple. Ezra may also have had to remake a golden table after the Babylonian exile, and the apocryphal book of 1 Maccabees tells us that Simon Maccabee also had to make a new table after it was taken by an enemy king. Finally, the history of the Table of Showbread ends with its depiction on the Ark of Titus being carried off to Rome as booty after the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. Thanks for watching. Click the playlist on screen now to watch more spotlights. And if you want to read the full article, click the link in the description. You can always go to BibleDiscoveryTV.com for more videos, articles, and resources.